right, welcome back. Martin Folse here, and as I normally do, I normally pull camera people up here on the set, and they come in with their footage. And Wayne White is no different. He was filming in and around the mall area, here and about, give or take a few blocks here and there. And once again, we're getting phone calls. A lot of people are saying that businesses are flooded and homes are flooded. I just heard from Greg Bush. I just talked to the parish president of Terrebonne Parish. There have not been one report of any homes flooded yet. Now, I have not received any factual evidence of that. Does that mean that somebody's home doesn't have water in it? No, it doesn't. However, if you're gonna call and say that businesses are flooded and inundated, or homes are inundated, make sure you see it or send us a picture. Because if your neighbor tells your neighbor, tells your neighbor, tells you, then you know that old story, okay? Here we go. We have the parish president on the line here, and Mr. Claudet, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Martin, and I'm certainly sorry about what's happening. We've been without rain for such a long period of time, and maybe we prayed too hard.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But I want to tell everybody the magnitude of this. Perry Blanchard, who's the head of all the drainage, and of course he reports directly to Greg Bush, he has a rain gauge at his home. He emptied it yesterday at 6 o'clock. He said that at his house, rain started at 4:30 this morning, and by 8 o'clock this morning, there were 4 inches of rain that had fallen. By 10:30, there was another 4.5 inches of rain. What's happening, we're not aware of any problems in any pumps, except there was a problem at Lered Street, which they were working on, and they're trying to work in that particular area. They have numerous reports of street flooding, particularly around the Bayreuth system, which we're going to be putting in a brand new pump in that area. That's the Deweyville area, right around Lafayette, Margaret Street, Barrow Street, all the way into the Deweyville area. We also have some reports of street flooding in Summerfield, at Pineland and Jefferson. We've had some reports of some street flooding around the Williams Avenue area. And around Senac Street, there's 2 pumps there. There's a diesel and an electric pump. And they had some problems with the electrical pump, and that's being worked on, but at least the diesel is still there. We have had some reports at Hollywood Road, problem, Paris Lane, and particularly around Jean Street, we've heard. Now, right now, even though it's very close to water getting into many houses, at least as of the last time I spoke to Public Works, which was probably about 20 minutes ago, they had not had reports of actual house flooding, even though there were numerous reports of water right at the where it would be going in. I do know this: there was a directive put in first thing this morning when the rain was coming in that each of the major pump stations in our area would be manned by either pump station operators or employees to make certain that there was continuing on. At each of these areas, they usually backtrack to make certain that there's no stoppages or blockages in the drainage area, and that's what they're doing in each and every area. If the pump's operating, they start working backwards to make certain, and of course, there's plenty of things that can go into drainage arteries, and if there are anything that's blocked, well then it needs to be obviously cleared.
Michel, I rode around quite a bit, and I have cameras riding around. I'm seeing sort of what you're saying. I'm seeing a lot of street flooding, but I don't see it in the homes. But if we have any luck, and this training effect gives us some time for the pump stations to catch up, how advantageous is that for you?
Oh my heavens, Martin, that would be the answer to our prayers. What they need is, we need lows in the rain to allow time for the pumps to catch up in the particular areas.
And I think we're under a lull right now, so actually the pumps should be, and depending on where you're at, I mean, you could be in the viewing area and having rain, but over HTV right now, it seems to have slacked off a little bit. So we might have at least an hour or two of lighter rain. So that does help you tremendously.
Oh, no question about it. And we certainly are hoping and praying that we have some breaks in the clouds. Now, I will say this, the radar, at least what we're seeing, does not indicate that we're in anywhere close to being out of this.
Right.
But if we can have some breaks like what you're indicating, it allows us to get caught up, and we'll just continue to try to do what we need to do to try to protect our people.
Now, I want to emphasize also, while I have you on, that 8.5 inches, according to my calculations and the numbers you just gave me, at some of these pump stations, is about 3.5 inches over what a pump station is designed to pump. So I don't want to panic people, but I want to tell them that in those instances, water will rise pretty quickly. It's 3.5 inches over what it's intended, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's a real problem. Now, Martin, obviously we had a clear day yesterday. I saw numerous people cutting their grass, but if you walked over almost any area, you saw where the ground was saturated. And that goes into what's called the antecedent moisture condition. If they have a lot of water and saturation from prior times, it certainly causes or exacerbates the problem that we have with our pumps. And that means if it was really, if the ground can soak up a lot of water from the rain, it certainly helps us. But when it's already saturated like it was over the last week, then it's not the best.
All right, take me through take me through the plan of attack, so to speak, of what you've sort of implemented all the way from the pump stations until you feel we're out of the woods. What are some of the things that the parish are doing to make sure that they can keep up with this?
Well, the first thing we did was, obviously, we're manning personally each of the pump stations that are critical to our areas. That's the first thing, to make certain that they're operating and that we have somebody there in case there is a problem right away. Secondly, as problems are reported to us, we actually start working to try to determine if there's any blockages in the area or if it's a matter of just too much water coming into the system. There, all these areas, Martin, the majority of it, from what we're seeing so far, from what I have been told, has been that the majority of them have to do with just the amount of rain as opposed to anything that's maybe blocking the arteries from getting to the pump systems. Okay. And that's the major things that we have. So.
All right, and I'm sure you will keep us up to speed as the day goes on, but we all need to pray for a couple hours of lull in the weather, correct?
Maybe 5 or 6 hours if you can, Martin.
All right.
So a couple hours would be wonderful, though.
All right, keep us posted.
Thank you so much.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks again. Once again, Michel Claudet, Parish President, and I urge everyone, if you're calling HTV to report a home or a business being flooded, make sure you put your eyes on it and that it is not coming from another source. We want just very, very good information here to report. But as you heard, Parish President saying no reports, zero, of homes that have been flooded or businesses at this point. That does not mean that you might not be sitting in an area that has water in it and they don't have the report yet, but that's what he told me. Joining me now on the desk is Wayne White. Wayne's been out and about around the parish. Welcome, Wayne. How you doing today?
Good. And you?
All right, pretty good. You went around the mall area, I think, is where we sent you. Is that a good indication of what we heard? A lot of street flooding, but not in the businesses at this point?
Correct. A tremendous amount of street flooding right now. I haven't seen it in any businesses or homes at this point, but if some of these vehicles don't slow down with the amount, this is the girls softball field off of MLK. It is totally flooded right there next to the Holiday Inn.
Okay.
Right there.
So just, we've seen it before, Wayne, a lot of traditional flooding in areas. And look, there have been improvements in all these areas, but when you get 8.5, this is Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yes, this is Best Buy, across from Walmart, Lowe's, etc. on it. You can see the tremendous amount of
Is that
water.
about 3 or
and
4
stuff.
inches in the parking lot?
At least 3 or 4 inches in the parking lot.
You can see it coming in. But now these stores are designed to have a reservoir system, which is behind the stores. But I don't know of any reservoir in Terrebonne Parish or any pump that's designed to handle an 8.5-inch rain in that time period. So the pumps have to catch up.
Correct.
There you see. Did you see a lot of this? Not that this is hurting anybody this far away, but did you see a lot of people doing that on the street close to businesses?
All over the place. People are driving on the streets right now like it's a normal sunny day. Is what they're doing.
Right, right. I mean,
they need to slow down on it. I mean, it's just a wall of water and they're hitting it, and then all of a sudden you're going to get hydroplaning with the cars, and then it's going to create accidents plus water in people's business.
Absolutely. Now, we do have crews out. I'm trying. Where is Chris Carter at, Jason, at this point? Do we? He was. I think he was on North Hollywood. We're going to have a camera crew very shortly. We're going to take a break down Margaret Street area, Summerfield, and all that. So we're going to continue to bring you the information as it comes in. Once again, we are hoping that it's just street flooding, and that the pumps can catch up in the lull periods when the rain stops. Now, let's go to the radar. Let's get a wider look at the radar. We're going to show you, we got a lot of rain that's going to be training through. So you can see it, doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon. We just have to hope that we're in the lighter green section, which we are about right now, at least in the Houma area. You still have, Raceland and Chack Bay and LaRose, just had some cells over them. But in St. Mary Parish, you got a lot of the rain that Houma just had. So it's going to be touch and go for the most part. There you see the entire radar loop. We're blanketed by green to reds. The light green is where we want to be at this point. The darker greens have a lot of rain. The reds are intense. The yellows are intense. So we just got to get in one of these little areas where the pumps can stay with it, and then I think we'll be okay. The thing to remember, and what I'm going to do is, I know Wayne's itching to go out there and get some shots of that Margaret Street area, so I'm going to let him rock and roll. Wayne, one more point you want to make?
One more point, Corporate Drive is blocked off by the Sheriff's Office, so it's totally flooded, Corporate Drive.
Right,
so if
Corporate
you can
Drive.
stay away from Corporate Drive right
Thank
now.
you so much. Good job, Wayne, and we'll see you in a little bit with, I think, Lafayette Street and Margaret Street and all that. So let's go back to the radar again, just to inform everyone of what's taking place. A big blob of rain. That's all we can say. So you heard it directly from the parish president of Terrebonne Parish. You heard it directly from Public Works Director Greg Bush, that the pumps are all manned. Mr. Claudet said one pump was having some problems around Senac Street. They're working on it, but that the diesel pump was functioning. So all pumps, every pump in Terrebonne Parish, according to Mr. Claudet, has an eye on it. Okay, so we are going to keep you informed as we move through this day. I'm going to read you the direct bulletin from our EAS activation. This is from the National Weather Service. Flash flood warning for Assumption Parish in southeast Louisiana. This includes the city of Napoleonville, northwestern Lafourche Parish in southeast Louisiana. This includes the city of Thibodaux, north central Terrebonne Parish in southeast Louisiana. This includes the city of Houma, as Jason Serenier continues to show you that the blob of rain moving in. Now, precautionary preparedness actions that you should take. And I'm going to just tell you, most flooding deaths occur in automobiles. Never, never drive your vehicle into areas where the water covers the roadway. Floodwaters are usually deeper than they appear. I think we all know that by now. Just 1 foot of flowing water is powerful enough to sweep vehicles off the road. When you are encountering flooded roads, make the smart choice. Turn around. don't drown. Remember that. Turn around, don't drown. A flash flood warning means that flooding is imminent or it is occurring at the point where it is given. And you see in the box, if you are in the warning area, move to higher ground immediately. Residents living along streams and creeks, over here it would be bayous and canals, should take immediate precautions to protect life and property. Do not attempt to cross swiftly flowing waters or waters of unknown depth by foot or by automobile. So we are going to keep an eye on the Bayreuth pump station, which is of concern to the parish. They have told us that. We have a crew heading to Margaret Street, Lafayette Street area, Terrebonne Parish. We're waiting on Brendan Mathern to give us a call from Lafourche Parish. I know Jason Serenier has tried to make contact with him. We have spoken to the parish president of Terrebonne. We have spoken to the public works director. We encourage all council areas. If you have a problematic council area in Terrebonne or Lafourche, please get on the line. If your area is fine, we don't need to talk to you. You know that. You can come in anytime and sit down with us. You've done it over the years. But if you are in a problematic area right now and you need to get pertinent information in, bring it on. Let's get it to the people. But the good thing, let's go back to the radar. Let's allow some of these lulls to allow the pumps to catch up, and that's what we're hoping that we could get. We're going to take a break. Phone lines are open, 879-1231. If you have an iPhone or any phone, you've taken a picture, and you want to download it to HTV10.TV, then we'll gladly accept it. However, once again, no hearsay. Let's stick with the facts. If you see water in a home or you see water in a business, we want to know about it. But just to give you an example, this morning we went into complete hurricane mode because people were calling up and saying businesses were flooding, homes were flooding, and of course we just got the official word from Terrebonne Parish that that was not the case. It doesn't mean we don't have one or two homes or businesses with water in it, maybe more, but it wasn't a widespread situation like people were calling and telling us. So be vigilant, but be responsible when you make a call and report something. If you're going to act like the reporter out there and we need you to be, just make sure you have your facts straight. That's all we ask, okay? We'll take a break. When we come back, more on the flooded streets, not flooded homes at this point, flooded streets in some areas of the area.